In this video, I'm going to break down how you can make multi-six figures from podcast guesting in 2026. You see, most people treat podcasts like PR or just an easy way to make content. They go on a show, they tell some stories, maybe get a few followers and call it a win. But podcast guesting isn't a brand building exercise. It's a business growth channel. And when it's done right, it can double or triple your revenue without spending a penny on ads. Today, I'm going to break down exactly how to turn podcast appearances into clients, cash, and authority, and why most people are leaving massive money on the table every time they sit down and hit record. Here's what most people don't understand. Podcasts are one of the fastest ways to build authority and generate high quality leads in your business. Why? Because of how people consume them. I mean, Netflix and Spotify have literally just announced their collaboration to put video podcasts onto Netflix. This shows the intent in this type of owned media going forward. You see, when someone listens to you on a podcast, they're giving you at least 45 to 60 minutes of uninterrupted attention. They're hearing your voice, your stories, your expertise, and by the end, they feel like they know you. Like, compare that to social media posts, 3 seconds of attention, an ad, instant skepticism, a blog post, skimmed in a couple of minutes. There's no comparison really. Podcasts build trust faster than any other medium. But the business impact is where it gets really interesting for me. You see, our clients who leverage podcasts consistently see 2 to 3 times revenue growth within 6 to 12 months. They see a massive decrease in time from discovery to client and reduced reliance on ads and they see lower customer acquisition costs. They see exponential authority growth in their niche. They get all these opportunities to speak on stage, fly around the world, whatever it might be. And the best part is you can see your results from the very first appearance. You see, when I started guesting on podcasts, the results came in stages. First, people DM'd me saying they heard me on a show. Then my social media following started to grow, LinkedIn specifically. Then other podcasts started reaching out to have me on their show. And then people joined my email list from my CTAs, and finally those subscribers became paying clients. And that's when I really started to see the value. But the real compounding happened when I got consistent with it and started to really take it seriously. I did 2 to 4 appearances per month, and within a couple of months, podcasts became my biggest organic traffic driver. I grew my own show, built my authority, and filled my pipeline with warm leads who already trusted me. But this is why most podcast guests fail. They treat every podcast the same. They just go on a show, any show that will have them. They wing the conversation thinking that their expertise will carry them, their charisma will carry them. They give a weak CTA, if they give any CTA at all, and they wonder why nothing happens. Well, here's a framework that will actually work for you. You want to think about this as a podcast pyramid, because level 1 is getting on small shows. This is the foundation. Start with a small podcast. They've got less than 1,000 listeners. This is where you hone your craft, test your talking points, get comfortable on camera, on mics, maybe start going into studios, get really, really comfortable with the nervousness that might come with this kind of performance. You learn what resonates with people. Your goal here is to become the absolute best guest they've ever had. So how do you measure that? Well, you need to be looking at engagement metrics, comments, shares, downloads, and you need to have an impact on them in any way you think you can. You want each episode that you go on to explode. You want to be the best person. So they're like, God, I had this guy on, this lady on, this person on who was such a good guest. You've got to have them on. Because this is marketing you. People don't understand that. They think it's helping a podcast to grow. It's not. This is about you. Level 2 is mid-tier shows. This is where the momentum starts to build. So once you've nailed 5 to 10 smaller shows, then you've done well. So you are the best guest they've ever had on. You've got good metrics behind YouTube, Spotify, Apple. You want to move to mid-tier shows. So these are the ones that are getting more than 1,000, less than 50,000 downloads per episode. Here's the secret though. Podcast hosts of these mid-tier and higher shows only find guests from other shows because they need proof you can perform. Because your small show appearances are your resume. And then level 3 here is top tier shows. These are your Joe Rogans, your Diary of a CEO, your Modern Wisdoms. And by the time you reach this level, you're getting invited. The only way you can get here is by being really good across the entire podcast network. You have to have a track record. You know your stories cold. You deliver value consistently. You make people curious about your thinking. And this is where the real business explosion happens. but you make all your money on the way up here. And ideally, you'd have a score against your name, because otherwise, how does anyone know if you're going to be a good guest or not? We want to look at, the score would be your reach. So who are the audience sizes you've spoken to? Your value. How much engagement did you drive on previous episodes? Your expertise. What are the topics you're known for? This is really exactly what we're building inside Podcast Pro, which is a software that we're building that scores podcast guests so hosts know who performs well. Right now it's in beta with our clients, but you can join the waitlist below in the description to be the first to know when it launches to the public. Here are some of the mistakes people are making on podcasts as guests. Mistake one is that they have no clear value. So you go on a podcast and you ramble, you tell stories, but there's no takeaway. The audience thinks, that was nice. They don't think at all sometimes, but they don't do anything. So the fix here would be, before every appearance, ask yourself, what's the one thing I want them to walk away with? And who do I want them to think I am? So you build your entire conversation around this. Mistake two is zero preparation. You don't research the host, you don't know the audience, you don't know the demographics, you don't review past episodes to see what topics have performed well with this audience, which is inexcusable and will mean that you never do well as a podcast guest. The fix here would be, before every podcast, spend an hour, a couple of hours, learning or listening to the last 3 episodes and then learning what goes down well. You can summarize this with AI. Understanding who the host is so important, what they're known for, identifying what the audience is looking for, because then you can tailor your stories and examples to that specific audience, and they will resonate with you 10 times more. The third mistake is no review process. So you record the episode, it airs, and you never look at it again. You have no idea if you were good or terrible. You don't track engagement, you don't analyze what works, and it's an easy fix because after each appearance, you just review it. You check for storytelling quality, conversation speed, speed to value. How fast did you get to the good stuff, Depth of emotion. Were you engaging? Were you flat? Content quality, engagement metrics, comments, shares, DMs. Opportunities to improve, because you want to treat each podcast like a performance you're optimizing. The best guests get better with every appearance. It's their time at the end of the day. The fourth mistake is a weak or missing CTA. You get to the end of the episode and the host says, where can people find you? And you say, just on Instagram. It's not a CTA. It's a missed opportunity. The fix here is really clear. You just have something of value to give away. Ideally, you can blend it into the conversation. I've got a framework, I've got a book, I've got something you can have that would really help you, because the host is happy and the listener is happy. You want to bring people into your ecosystem in a really fluid way. So like I say, free resources would be helpful, lead magnets, something where you're going to collect an email would be ideal, depending on the audience you're looking at. So an example would be, I put together a free guide, go to my website and grab it. I'll also put you on my email list where I can share deeper strategies with you. If you think this is an ideal audience for you, don't just collect followers, collect emails. You really need to turn this into something, turn this into an audience that could potentially benefit you in some way. Mistake 5 is treating it as one and done. So this is so frustrating as a podcast host. The episode airs and the guest shares it once on their Instagram stories, and that's it. Because then what's happening is you're wasting 90% of your value as a guest. The fix here is easy. After a podcast airs, help promote the episode, share it multiple times across your channels, stay in touch with the host, build relationships, not just the appearance, build the relationships. Leverage the content. Don't just clip the video. Use the talking points. This is where the real value is. You can put the talking points, if they've done well, in carousel posts, email sequences, LinkedIn articles, YouTube videos, thread breakdowns. You can even connect with previous guests. This is where I see a lot of people making a lot of money. Connecting with previous guests from a show that you've just been a guest on, because you've got an opener now. I saw you were also a guest on here. Wasn't the host great? Then you can talk to them. Easy. So you want to treat it as a content testing ground. The ideas you share on podcasts are your best thinking. So you can see what resonates and then build content around it. You think of each podcast as not just a free content dump, but a way to test your best ideas and expand your reach exponentially. And here's what realistic growth looks like when you do this right. In month 1 to 2, you're building momentum. So 2 to 4 podcast appearances per month, focused on small to mid-tier shows. Building your email list from CTAs, really testing and refining your message and your speaking. Month 3 to 4, compounding authority, bigger shows, start reaching out. Your social media grows organically. Make sure to pick one social media ideally. Then it will also create an ecosystem after that. You want to get an email list growth, right? There's going to be a lot of acceleration in these months. Your first clients will start coming in from podcast traffic. Then month 5 to 6, you're going to see the revenue impact. It's going to be consistent now. Podcasts become a primary traffic source. You're going to get consistent inbound leads. Authority in your niche will solidify. Business growth measurably will become tied to podcast appearances. And then there's a multiplier effect here, right? And here's where it gets really powerful. Podcasts don't just grow your business. They grow your own show if you have one. This is exponential. Podcasts stay forever. So if you're good, and in 2026 and beyond, video is going to become even bigger in the podcast space. This is evergreen content with audiences who are going to see you all over the place. This helped so much build my own show. Because when you're a guest on other shows, you're telling the audience about your show. It's the most organic cross-promotion that exists. And beyond leads and revenue, podcasts give you something money can't buy: authority. When you're consistently featured on respected shows in your space, you become known. You borrow trust from audiences that trust the host who trusts you. That's leveraged, borrowed trust. You see, other podcasters reference you. Potential clients see you everywhere, and you're no longer chasing opportunities. They'll come to you. This works for online businesses especially well, but even big founders who just want to build their personal brand leverage the podcast network. It's a hidden fast track to authority. There's so many case studies of this. And if you're starting from zero, it's relatively straightforward. Step 1 is identify 10 small podcasts in your niche. Like I said, less than 1,000 listeners. Similar audience to your ideal client. Active and consistent. Releasing episodes. Step 2, craft your pitch. Lead with value. I'd love to come on and share a specific framework that helps your audience achieve this outcome. And then you can show you've done your research. I love the episode with this person. I think my experience can help with this related topic. Would this resonate with your audience? Leave it as open. And then you can make it easy, right? Here are 3 potential topics I could cover. This is what I think is so valuable when someone pitches to come on our podcast. Here are the topics you can cover. This is why it's valuable. Here are some other episodes I've been on where they've done well. What I've spoken about has done well. People are interested in me. I'm an interesting person. And step 3, we prepare like a professional. Research the show. Make sure you know who the host is. Understand the audience demographics so that you then tailor your examples. And then step 4, deliver a clear CTA. Drive people to your email list if you want to make this into a revenue driving activity. If you're just here for personal brand, maybe drive towards your social media. But if you're just in this for personal brand, I would argue, why wouldn't you want to also drive people towards revenue driving activities? So you need to offer a specific resource. Make it easy to remember. And then step 5, everyone skips this. Review and optimize. Watch, listen, and revise your performance. What happened? Track the engagement. Identify what worked and what didn't. Even if you think, well, this podcast never gets massive views, what's the point in tracking it? You need to track and see if your episode becomes an outlier. Because if it does, that means you've done your job correctly. You can get better every single time. And if you're already guesting all the time, here's my advice for you. Audit your last 5 appearances. How many people joined your email list? How many DMs did you get? How many clients came directly from that podcast? Did you follow the 5 mistake checklist? Most people are shocked to realize they're getting exposure but 0 business results. But you can fix the system, not the exposure. It's so simple. Podcast guesting isn't about vanity metrics. It's not about being famous. It's about building a scalable, predictable business growth channel that brings you warm leads that already trust you. Everyone's talking about how to build trust. This is how. And if you do it consistently, do it with strategy, do it with business first mindsets, it is the only thing you need to be doing for your business. And if you're thinking of scaling your business with podcasts, click the link below and check us out. We help businesses leverage podcasts for real growth, whether you're guesting or hosting. Now, go and book on to your next show.